Today I have a card share for you using the Hero Arts February 2019 kit, which was sort of the Roaring Twenties flapper, the Great Gatsby themed kit. But very first thing, I need to do a couple of disclosures. I'm filming this over a school vacation week here in New Hampshire. My 7-year-old niece is here visiting my 10-year-old daughter, and they're the best of friends. They're 2 rooms away and they're playing, and I can still hear them in here. So some of it may catch on to the recording, and I'm really sorry about that, but everything's fine. It's just children at play in the distance. And also I am running my dishwasher, which I normally don't do during the day, but I forgot to start it last night, and it's kind of loud, and it's just on the other side of this wall over here. So you may pick up on that as well. So children, dishwasher, sorry about that, it happens. Like I said, I'm filming this over a vacation week, so we've been having a nice relaxing week, and I've had quite a bit of time to finish up some of these cards that I had started. This kit is a really nice kit, but I kind of lost my mojo in it a little bit. Let's go ahead and show off what we have. Get this out of the way. So obviously you get this very large stamp set in the kit. This is a 6x8 stamp set. And as usual, the quality here is impeccable. This is a Hero Arts product. They're amazing. This was a very interesting set here, and this is kind of where I lost a little bit of my mojo, and it wasn't, the images were fine. I really enjoyed some of the decorative pieces as well, and I did have a chance to use a couple of them, as you'll see, but it was the sentiments I struggled with, and I think I mentioned this in my unboxing video, and I'll link that down below if I remember to do that. Some of them are kind of outdated, but outdated in not a good way. They're a little bit not for me, and I send a lot of cards out for charity and for friends and stuff, and I don't know anybody that we would call Daddy-O, even as a joke, or doll face, just kind of just a little bit outdated. So I didn't use those sentiments, but I did try to use some of the other sentiments where I could, that you will see. And like I said, I did this kind of piecemeal. I worked on it a little bit here and there. I would lose my mojo. It happens. Not every kit is going to be for everybody, guys. And that's the reason why, I'm showing this off. I have the subscription, so they sent it to me anyway, and that's fine. I'll probably end up destashing this set. It's a nice set. I don't think that it was for me. But I did get some good cards out of it. So we'll go ahead and show off the rest of the kit here so we can get into the card share. It comes with some coordinating dies, and this was my favorite part here. This might be worth hanging on to. This large frame stencil here, the fancy die. I really enjoyed this die, and you'll see why in a couple of minutes. The kit also came with this stencil, which was fun as well. I had a lot of fun using this. It came with Art Deco Mirror Confetti, and I did use about half of it, and I still have a ton left, so they're really generous with their portion sizes. It also came with a half sheet of silver reflective cardstock, which was more like a gunmetal gray to my eyes, and then it came with a half sheet of gold reflective cardstock, and those were very nice, and I don't have any leftovers to show you because I used them all. So we'll go ahead and get right into the card share. I did pull in a couple of other products to kind of work with the ideas that I had this month, and I'll show those off as we go as well. So the first thing that I want to show you is actually the last thing that I worked on. Let me grab this back again because it'll help the backing here. Was kind of a concept that I was just kind of playing, and I just did this the other night too, just playing with color and rainbow colors. So I used some of these decorative stamps here, and I just kind of wanted to do like a repeat stamping in rainbow colors. So I came up with this really fun card here. It kind of looks like eyelashes to me, and I pulled in for my sentiments on this one because I was working with rainbows, and I'm working with rainbows for because I love them, of course. I grabbed from CC Designs, I have this little 4x4 stamp set called Lucky Rainbow Sentiments. If I can find it somewhere for sale, I will link it down below, but this was discontinued several years ago, and they no longer have it for sale on their site. I know this because I just I just tried to find another one to pick up for a friend, and I can't find it anywhere. But again, if I can find it somewhere, I will link it for you down below. As far as I know, you can't get it from CC Designs. Really fun. This is kind of a more St. Patrick's Day themed stamp set, but they have a lot of rainbow type sentiments in here as well. It's really nice. You can pause and take a look if you like. I won't go through all of the sentiments, but so I used the Have a Rainbow Kind of Day, and I used a little heart gem here. Just a very simple card, and I put it on some of that Gina K Navy cardstock. Again, the theme of this year is 2019 is I'm really trying to use up stuff that I have. In addition to, of course, you know, shopping without abandon. But I do have some of this cardstock that's left over, so I decided to use a couple pieces for that. And I really like the way that the navy blue looked. And I was using some of my Ranger dye inks, and some of them are getting really dry at this point, in particular my orange and yellow. So those are going to be, I think I already have a yellow that I've replaced, but I think it's time to look into some, and I forgot about it until after I was done with this project naturally. I think it's time to replace my orange. But so we have a Rainbow Kind of Day, and then I used this little guy right here, which I thought was really cool. And I had another idea to kind of lay them all out in a fan, and I never really got to it. This was just sort of freehand stamping with a block. And then I have You Paint the World Beautiful, and again with the little gem. And then another Have a Rainbow Kind of Day. So just a little fun thing, playing with some of the decorative stamps here. Okay, sorry, sniffles. So the next thing I want to show you is what I did with the stencil, and let me look through my pile here because I've already misplaced them. So I made a couple of cards with the stencil. And I found a, like a pad, like an almost dry Versamark ink pad that I had in my stash, and I really wanted to use it up. So if you want to use a ton of Versamark, what is the absolute best way to do that is to squish your Versamark pad down over a stencil and then heat emboss, right? So that's exactly what I did, and I made a couple of backgrounds. This is using Nouveau gold embossing powder, and incidentally I had just a tiny little bit left when I was done with this project, so I mixed it in with some of my, like I just dumped the like 1/8 of a teaspoon in with the Hue Arts gold embossing powder, and then I shook it all up and it's fine. The gold colors are slightly different, but I didn't have enough of the Nouveau embossing powder to really do anything with, and I didn't want to throw it away, so I just combined it with something else, and it seems to be working out fine. So anyway, so here we have this card here, and I later came in and heat embossed the dancing couple here, and then a You Kick Up Your Heels, and I propped it up with a little bit of foam tape. I thought this one was really fun, and I really like this is navy blue. I don't know if you can tell that it's navy blue in the camera, but it's sort of gold on navy blue, and I really thought that was fun. And again, you did so much Versamarking that I used up pretty much the whole pad, so yay me. And then these ones, I used this really great kind of peacock feathersy colored green, seafoam green, and I did the same technique where I smooshed my Versamark pad down. And that noise you might hear is my rabbit, who's over here on the floor. She's pulled a piece of trash, paper out of my trash, and is now shredding it into bits. That's fine, but if you hear another noise, that's just the rabbit on the floor. Anyway, so when I made 2 more backgrounds here using silver heat embossing powder, and then I stamped and colored with my Spectrum Noir alcohol markers this little couple here, and Have a Roaring Good Time with the jukebox. I thought that was kind of fun. And then Party Like It's 1922. This is probably my favorite sentiment of the bunch. This one, well actually these 2 here, I heat embossed in white over the heat embossing. I just wanted to see if it would work, and it does. And if I could do this over again, I would actually put a second layer of white heat embossing on it. I did it kind of in poor lighting in the evening time, and I couldn't really tell that you can see some of the silver there behind the white. So if I could do this again, I would double the heat embossing over the heat embossing to make like a brighter, more solid white. But it worked out fine. I liked it. I like the way that it turned out. I need a lot of cards for March, so I was trying to churn them out. These obviously weren't the only projects that I worked on at the time. So the next thing, I will show you what I did with that gold and silver reflective cardstock. I used the dies, which I have misplaced. Here they are. I used this big fancy die here. And this was the very first thing that I did, like right after I did the unboxing video for this, I started die cutting because I love that cardstock so much. And it die cuts beautifully like a dream. It's gorgeous. And I was able to squeeze 2 different panels out of each sheet of cardstock that they sent me. So I got 4 cards out of it. Look at how beautiful that silver is. Well, again, it's more like a gunmetal gray to me, but I topped it, I put it on top of some of the same sort of seafoam green cardstock that I used in these here. I was trying to keep a cohesive color theme, and I heat embossed a little scene here with the gramophone and Kick Up Your Heels and some musical notes. I thought that was fun. I thought this would be like a great birthday card. This one as well, Party Like It's 1922 with that Monopoly car image. And then look at this gold. Isn't that breathtaking on the navy blue? Oh, it's gorgeous. I wonder if we can buy this cardstock separately. I do have some, from Die Cuts with a View, I do have a pack of metallic cardstock. I need to use that before I can buy any more, but gorgeous. I used more of that gold embossing powder. And this is the same design, so I made 2 sets of these. And these are just general all-purpose birthday cards for my stash. I went through a ton in February, and I'm just now remembering I need to get to the post office and buy stamps. I'll have to do that later today. Okay, so the next one that I have, I've pulled in some other products to show you, and this one, these 2 cards are extremely experimental. So let me show you what I did. I pulled in from my stash, just kind of keeping with the Art Deco sort of theme. I pulled in from my stash, I had some embossing folders, and I had this one here, and this one's actually from the Art Deco set from Cuttlebug. And then I have this one here, which kind of looked very Art Deco-y to me. And then I have this sort of border embossing folder that I found, and I never actually found a way to use it in my cards, but I wanted to show it off anyway. And I really wanted to encourage you, especially if you're a kit getter like I am. And if you, I mean, we do get advance notice about it, you know, a couple days before these things start shipping. Start going through your stash and seeing if you have anything that you can bring in to work with these kits to kind of expand some of the ideas that you get from it. I found it particularly helpful, especially in months like this one, where the sets, the theme themselves might not be my favorite, and I might creatively be struggling with it anyway. It helped to be able to pull in a few things from my stash. So I had these 2 embossing folders that I did use. This one I did not use, but I wanted to show you anyway. I think this came from a magazine years ago. So I was just playing, just seriously playing, not even, I had stamped and cut, fussy cut some of these images here that don't have coordinating dies, and I just had them sitting around and I wanted to do something with them. So I was experimenting with my embossing folders, and I wanted to make a really rustic kind of distressed background using these embossing folders. So when you think distressed, you think Distress Oxide, right? So I took my folders and I took some Distress Oxide ink pads, and this one is Peacock Feathers and this one is Worn Lipstick. And on the front side of the embossing folders, I took the pad and I literally just stamped it all along the embossing folder. I put my paper inside and I ran it through my machine to emboss it. And then it ended up coming out with this one, goes with this one here. Sort of this, obviously it embossed it, but it kind of looks like this distressed sort of patina look on it. And I thought that it was really cool, but I wanted to do a little bit more, and I'll do a close-up with this one here. Just had a little thing fly off this one. One of my little accessories. I took my Distress sprayer after this came out of the Gemini, and I put big blobs of water on and I let it sit until it dried. And I thought it still needed a little bit more. It wasn't quite as distressed looking as I wanted. So I took my Delicata silver ink pad and I smooshed it down on my work surface, and I spritzed a little water in it, and I grabbed a paintbrush and I twirled it all up, and I just sort of splattered it all over these backgrounds here. So you can see all the silver in the background. And then I was like, yes, now it's starting to look the way that I wanted to look. Now it's starting to look the way that I wanted to look. I did have a little bit of this silver left over from die cutting these backgrounds out here. This negative space I kept after I die cut it out. So I still had some of those left, and I thought that I would see if I could heat emboss on top of the silver, and I could. Look at that, that's white heat embossed on top of that silver cardstock. Now, I did use my powder bag on it, and then I did double stamp the Probably because I'm still using the same stamp pad that I was trying to use, the ink pad of the Versamark. But I did stamp it out twice. And as you can see, even with the powder bag, it's still kind of, I don't know if you can see. Getting too close. It still kind of made a little bit of a mess, and I did get in there with my finger and the little tip of a paintbrush and kind of dust off what I could. But I figured this was good enough because the whole thing kind of looks distressed anyway, so it kind of matches the theme. But if you're looking for something really clean, you're really going to want to get in there and brush the little particles away. I thought that it kind of worked with the theme that I was going with, but I think because of the really smooth surface of this cardstock, it just really attracts that powder. But you can heat emboss over it. I was very pleased to see that. So that's heat embossed on top of it. And then I have the little figure that I stamped and hand cut. And I still had, I mean, I did this at the beginning and I still had it, and I was like, what else am I going to do with it? And the colors kind of match the background, so I propped her on here. And then I just pulled some, this is confetti sequins that came from a Hero Arts kit a couple months ago. And then I pulled some pink gems from my stash and just kind of sparkled up the front of this one. And this one, same thing, heat embossed over some silver. I had two negative spaces from the two backgrounds that I had die cut earlier. So this one's heat embossed on the other one. I used the little characters that did not have coordinating stamps, and they don't even have tops of their heads. If I was to do this over again, and I didn't know that I didn't know that I was going to be using this when I stamped them out, I would have gone in and drawn, like, finished the shape of their heads. As it is, I think it's fine. And the background on this one, I used, for just a little bit of extra sparkle, I used some of the half beads from the Ink Road for my stash in that color. So these ones are probably among my favorites that came out of the bunch. I really like the way that those backgrounds came out, and I think that it's a technique that I'm going to pull in for other things as well. Okay, so the last two cards that I have to show you are the same thing, just different sentiments. And I was taking advantage of this little Martini stamp here, which I thought was adorable. So I made some backgrounds using black cardstock and some of that gold embossing powder that I was trying to use up. And I made some Martini paper, just randomly stamped by hand. And then I pulled in, from my favorite things, I have the, well, I have both the Martini and the Margarita, but here's the Martini die set for the shakers. And then I have the little pouches, the shaker pouches, and I use those. And I also pulled in their Spirited Sentiments stamp set. There's a ton of sentiments in here. I haven't had a chance to use them all yet, but I heat embossed "You're Just a Teeny Bit Older" and "Cheers to Your Birthday." I thought these were fun. I didn't have enough gold cardstock left over to from here to cut the whole Martini glass out of. So again, using more of that Versamark up and the last of that gold embossing powder, I die cut this out of just regular cardstock, and I pressed my Versamark ink into just straight onto the die cut, and then I heat embossed, poured the embossing powder over it, and then heat embossed it to turn it gold. And it's the same embossing powder that I used for the background so that it matches. And with that negative space from these gold papers is what I backed the little the Martini shaker with. So I ended up using pretty much all of that gold paper. It's gorgeous. Worth hoarding if you can get your hands on some more. Anyway. Okay, so I think I've brought you through, I think that's everything, yeah. Just kind of looking around. So I did pull in a couple of other products, and I will link them down below if I can. Here's the kit. Here's the folders, embossing folders, stencil. Still got a little, excuse me, oh, sorry. Still getting over that cold, and I'm like choking on my own face here. Still have a little bit of that left over, and I'll transfer that to my little bead holder here, which is on my side as soon as I finish filming. And a lot more cards than I thought that I did. Again, I did it kind of in bits here and there, so I ended up, now that I'm looking at them all together, it looks like that I churned out a lot more than I thought I did. So I hope that you've enjoyed, and this has helped you a little bit. My camera's in a different position, so I'm just trying to make sure everything's lines up. I hope that you've enjoyed, and this has inspired you a little bit. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm going to have links and stuff down below. I look forward to seeing what the March kit is all about. As of this filming, we don't even have any previews yet or anything. It's actually technically still February, so I have no idea what's coming, but I'm looking forward to it. Thanks so much. Take care. Bye.